What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Alex G. I'm alongside Mal, and this is the A Couple of Things podcast, where we are here to talk about a couple of things. Stop dancing, but how are you doing?
Tired.
Same.
Oh yeah, I did. Make sure I take my vitamins. Yeah, tired, but I feel like I kind of caught up on sleep today. Sleep I've been missing for a while. Cause I was very delirious yesterday. My heart rate was fast when I was laying down.
Yeah, we'll probably go to the store, get some juice, and come back here.
Get some juice.
I need something to drink. I'm like dying for something to
I
drink.
have white peach cranberry or white cranberry, whatever. Do you like that? That white cranberry juice? Isn't it?
Yeah, but I need like a lot of fluids.
No, it's a full container.
Nah, I'm not gonna drink all your juice.
I haven't opened it.
I ain't gonna drink all your juice.
You can just buy me another one.
Nah. Yeah, well, I'm good.
Oh yeah,
Nonetheless. Yeah, typical. This is why men are depressed.
Oh my god! See, here you go.
How you feel about like that one random clip I was telling you about, where it's like the guy was like, the key to relationships is to just make her happy. Do you feel like that's true?
For a lot of men, I feel like yeah, but it's not. It shouldn't be because you guys should both make each other happy. But I feel like women have like this expectation to get treated well. Well, I talk about my grandma a lot. Sorry, expectation to get treated well because they feel like women, we do more and we go through more things physically, and they always try to use the pay gap as an excuse. Oh, women don't get paid as much. So then they have expectations to be the center of their relationship, which is very messed up. Very messed up.
Do you think it's true though that like if the woman is happy that the relationship goes well?
Yeah, that's where that whole saying came from: happy wife, happy life. Because they feel like women have such like control of relationships. Women have control of everything. They have control of the kids. If something goes wrong, like if you guys are divorced, they usually get custody. So basically, like if you make the woman happy, you don't have to worry about things like that. That's so messed up to me.
Does happy husband make a happy life?
That's why I like. You know what I like? Happy spouse, happy house. That should be the same. Because everybody should be happy. And like that's messed up that is just one person that should be happy. To make the relationship happy. But unfortunately, I do feel like that's the truth because I don't know. I feel like a lot of men are really usually very like complacent because they just don't want to fight. So they'll be like, "You're right." That's why that's always a joke online. Where men were like, when you say you're right, just so your girl can stop talking.
It's the key.
But that's so messed up. There needs to be respect in relationships on both sides.
You definitely just gotta tell her she's right, so she be quiet. Because once you get to that point where it doesn't matter whether you're right or wrong, and once you hit that equilibrium where it doesn't matter anymore, it's just so freeing to just not care. Because then you start to realize, you're like, is it really worth winning this argument? And I feel like a lot of men go through that.
Yeah. And I feel like though, like women need to get that in their heads too. Like women need to be like, is this worth starting a fight over? Is this worth bickering over? Is this worth fighting over? Like, cause I feel like some women complain about everything. Like, they really want men to be like perfect, and any little thing that they do, they get annoyed. It's like if that's how you're gonna be, then don't be in a relationship because nobody's ever gonna be 100% perfect for you. I need that.
I also feel like I really don't understand what people complain. That's not even. I really can't. You know what? I kind of understand, I guess, what people can complain over. But after a certain point, I feel like once you grow up, there's like, what is there to fight about?
I think
even fighting is crazy. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, right.
Like having a like what happens that can't be discussed?
And the thing is, which is so funny to me, people do be arguing with their friends, but a lot of times I feel like people don't really argue with their friends as much. Like, I don't know, there's just an expectation in relationships because like there's stuff that you let your friends slide, but then there's stuff you won't. But and then it's vice versa though, because there's some people who cut off their friends off of one simple thing that their man does, their man or girl does all the time. But I don't know. I think you had to really break down from the beginning, right? Like I feel like relationships in like middle school, high school, we usually fight over cheating. I think every relationship that ends in high school is because of cheating, honestly. Will you agree?
No.
Well, I've never been in a relationship. I mean, you know what? I've had friends that were in relationships that they didn't break up from cheating. They just didn't like each other anymore.
Are high school relationships?
I think high school is. Middle school, no. No.
Okay.
You don't even have mental capacity to be in a relationship in middle school. High school, I think like junior, senior year, yeah.
If you dated, like, say I dated so and so in high school, at what point, like, what's the statute of limitations on you can't claim that you dated her, right? Like, say I dated so and so when she got popping and she's popping now. What's the statute of limitations on when you can't claim that you dated her?
I think you can always claim it. I think it's like unlimited.
Nah, man.
Nah, because it's like if you dated, you dated. I mean, I feel like it's weird, but if you dated, you dated.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The statute of limitations. Like, you shouldn't be like you dated when you were 17 and now she's like 27 popping somewhere, and then you're like running around telling stories about how y'all dated in high school.
I mean, I still think it's valid though, because that's cool to be like unless you have an anger towards. If you have anger towards them, that's weird. Like if you guys broke up bad, it's weird. But if you're like, wow, that's crazy that she's like lit down, like. That was really my girl in high school. Like, I don't think there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but saying that once, I'm saying like you telling people that, like you say that multiple times. Like you go around telling people like, oh yeah, we like that's your fun fact you use to tell people. I don't think
it's weird. Cause think about, you said 17 to 27, right? Think about 10 years ago. We were in high school 10 years ago. We were 15, so we were sophomores. I still have very vivid memories of like my sophomore year in high school. Like I still have and I'm still cool with with some people from high school. So it's like, it's not that long. I don't know.
Nah.
Yeah.
You can't run around with that in your back pocket as a fun fact to pull out with random people. Like,
no, I think that's fine. I mean, I think it depends on when you bring it up, right? Like, let's say you're on a date with some girl, and you're like, I dated Beyonce. Like, that's like one of the first things you say. It's like, okay, but I think if it's like, oh, like you guys are doing like truth or dare, right? Or at like a party, or if you're like doing never have I ever at a party, or if you guys are like sharing fun facts, and I think that's fine. Like imagine you're at work and you're at like a work happy hour and it's like, let's share fun facts, and everybody's going around the table and that's your fun fact. I think that's fine. I think that's fine.
Nah, man.
I think it depends on how you say it. Like if you randomly unprovoked or like, I dated Nicki in high school, I dated Cardi B, like that's weird. But if you're in a situation where that stuff comes up, it's like, what's the craziest fact about you that people want to know, or what's a random fact, and you're like, well, this is a really random fact. I used to date this superstar or whatever. It's like, wow, that's crazy. Like I think it depends on how you do it. Like if you're just unprovoked, like if that's like in your Instagram bio, or like if you like on Instagram and posting pictures and every few pictures is your caption is I dated Beyonce, so I could get anybody. That's weird. It depends on how you do it.
Maybe I'm weird because I just could never do that because I can't.
I know. I really just think it depends on how you do it, because knowing somebody in high school, they're still like them. That's still who they are. Like that, even though that's 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, that's still, you still were a part of their life at one point. And I think there's nothing wrong with that, and wanting to share that. Like it's kind of weird, because kind of like you're dick riding them a little bit and kind of still kind of get clout off of the fact that they're famous. But then again, it's not. You knew them before the fame. Like you dated them with no incentive to date them. So you knew them before the world did. So I think there's nothing wrong with that. And you loved them before, and they loved you. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If the relationship was like a week long, then yeah, it's weird. But if that was like your girl, like you dated for her like a year, 6 months even, like I don't think that's wrong with that.
Nah, it's weird. Because it's like, I don't know. I could never do it, especially if they're like popping and you're just like working.
That's what I said. It depends on the situation.
You're working at Costco.
It depends on the situation. It depends on who asks. It depends on if you're in a situation where it comes up, or somebody sharing a story about how they used to be friends, or they're still friends with somebody famous. You're like, oh shit, like I dated somebody who's famous too. Like we have that in common. But I think it just depends.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, going back to what we were saying before. What do you think most high school relationships end over and fight over? I think, like I said, I think cheating. I think it's like, or like trust issues that people have. Like it's crazy because people won't even really have trust issues, but they create trust issues because of social media and other people's relationship problems. Like there's people out there who legitimately have trust issues, who used to be like naive, I guess you could say, and then they went through some breakup or they seen something by accident, now they're messed up. But there's some people who probably in middle school relationships, like, let me see your phone, just because they see that on TV, right? They see that on social media. They don't even got trust issues. They don't even have a reason to have trust issues because nothing ever happened to them. They just want to be that. Let me see your phone.
I think it's all.
Why are you looking at that girl? Why are you liking that picture? Like,
I think it's usually, I'm gonna sit here and generalize and be misogynistic and sexist and all those different, cancellation words. I feel like the women in the relationships and the younger relationships, they kind of like what you were saying, kind of like manufacture. They like manufacture issues. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, it's like almost like for the purpose of being bored. Like, you want some sort of entertainment. Like, you want something to be wrong.
Yeah.
You want to go through
like,
the phone.
Yeah, you want some drama.
You want some other girl to be on him. You want to go fight
so
somebody.
Weird.
It's like weird.
I feel like people don't want peace in relationships. Like, they want toxic, like a toxic relationship. They want to seem like they're like the main character or their life is a movie. Like, we talked about this before. Like, everybody wants their life to be so fun and fanatical, and they want a reason to be mad. Like, there's some people who literally want to be mad. The man won't be doing nothing, but they will criticize everything. Oh, why'd you look at that girl? It's like what? Looking at who? Like, there's some girls who really are that crazy. I feel bad. I mean, there's guys like that too. I don't want to sound like I hate women. Like, there's guys that are just as worse too.
I'm bringing you to the dark side.
I know.
We hate women, right?
People probably like, pick
me over here. Ooh. Pick me.
Yeah, he picked me.
I'm bringing you over to the dark side. Anti-woman gang, right?
I'm not anti-woman gang. That's the thing. It's almost like the stuff that's going on. I always had to bring a whole different conversation. But the stuff that's going on Twitter with the whole Nigerians versus Black Americans. A lot of Black Americans, like, we love people. We love our African brothers and sisters. We love our Nigerians, how do you say Ghanaians? I don't even know. I know obviously other countries, Ethiopians, South Africans. We love all of them, But sometimes you have to give tough love and criticize. And it might seem like you're bashing them, Like this, people think that, like, we literally hate them. It might seem like we're bashing, but no, it's like sometimes you gotta give people tough love. Like, obviously I love my fellow woman, Like, I'm all for us. But sometimes you gotta give that tough love. Like, a lot of us are real messed up and don't see it that way. And the internet always sides with being a messed up woman for some reason. Like, with that whole situation with Diarra, right? Where anybody doesn't know, Diarra was messing with, like, her makeup artist who used to be her friend, messing with her ex, which is another woman. I guess they're gay or lesbian, it's the proper term. And they, they used to be friends, so that even makes it weird. And apparently, like, there's speculations that Diarra was messing with this girl while she was still with her girlfriend and while Diarra was still with Ken. So, a lot of stuff is going on. And now, like, Diarra's kind of like liking comments on TikTok because she's making TikToks, right? And somebody said, we don't care. We always sided with Diarra. We always gonna pick Diarra, and Diarra liked that comment, which is so weird to me. Like, you're so weird. But meaning that we're always gonna be on her side, whether it's with, versus Ken, whether it's versus whatever. People were criticizing, saying, wow, Diarra might have been the one wrong, in this relationship where they both might have been wrong, but nobody's coming for Diarra. They're just coming for Ken. And that's what I have an issue with, because it's like, that's so messed up. I don't care if we're women, and that I don't care. And it's a hate men movement, and women could do no wrong in my eyes. I don't agree. Because you guys have that mindset, and then you have sons. These women have that mindset, and then they have sons. Are you going to keep perpetuating that mindset when you have a son? Are you going to look in your son's face and say that a woman matter more than you and that all men are trash? You going to say that to your son? Probably not. That's why it's so dangerous to me, because you could feel how you feel, and you could have your issues with certain men. You might have some stuff that you go through, but one day you might have a son of your own. And are you going to have that same mindset to your child? No, usually those women end up being weirdos, and they end up being obsessed with their sons and wanting to fight their girlfriends. Like, pick a battle. And, like, if you're gonna have that mind consistently with all the men out there, men are all trash, I hate all men, then you got to keep that same perspective when you have a son. And then they won't, and that's why I hate it, because I look at it from the mindset that I'm gonna be a mother one day, hopefully of a son. Like, I would hope to have one of each. So why would I be like, I hate all men, and then push one out? Like, what? And the fact that you're pushing one out, clearly you don't hate men. Cause how'd you get pregnant? That's why I seen that joke. Shit. I seen that joke on Twitter. They'd be like, they were like, for all these women that hate men, there's a lot of pregnancies. I'm like, exactly. Clearly, you don't hate them enough. Like,
I don't have my air horn anymore.
And then you look at the baby daddy and it's like, ooh, that's who you pick? You hate all men and you pick your baby daddy works at Petco? Like,
Petco? How is he working? He's not working at Petco though.
That seems so specific. I'm really not. I have nobody on my mind.
Yeah, that came from the soul. Who work at Petco?
Nobody. That's just the first thing that came into my head.
Who bagging up the goldfish? Not the Petco.
No, but that's just I just hate it, and that's really the main reason why I'm all anti-woman in some aspects. It's like obviously, I'm pro-woman, but I'm also pro-accountability. I'm also pro. Let's stop this whole BS with woman this, woman that, woman empowerment. We hate men. Men are this. All men are trash. Like no, because keep that same energy to your son, and usually they don't. Their sons be out here be rapists, all this other stuff, and they side with them.
Jesus Christ,
that's my baby. I'm gonna ride for him.
Yeah, we 15 minutes in.
Yeah, but so all right. We holding women accountable, and
all right.
So wait, why did we get into that accountability conversation?
Hopefully, everybody's having a fine evening. Or
how did we get
into
into the accountability conversation? I keep trying to circle back to my timeline. I was trying to go.
We were talking about the high school relationships and women.
Oh yeah, and women wanted to just be yeah. Yeah, and I think that's why, like going back to what I was saying, I think that's why a lot of high school relationships end because it's trust issues and then sometimes a guy gets tired of it. I feel like there's nothing you really fight for when you're in high school too, right? Like you easy jump to the next girl. And you don't really, anyway. You don't really fall in love with people. Like how you fall in love with somebody you see for like a few hours of the day every week, and then you go home and your parents are there. Like you don't really have time to really build those bonds in high school. I feel like, well, I guess you do because you still build it with your friends, but. Yeah, I feel like a lot of high schools, like, there's a lot of people I know from high school relationships that's still together now, married, engaged, everything. So good for them. But I do feel like a lot of high school relationships, people kind of just get into just to get into, They don't really actually love fall in love with the person. They kind of just like, it's lust and it's kind of crushed feelings, So it's easy to leave a relationship, but when a girl's getting her nerves, having trust issues and like wanting to fight, and you're like, all right, I'm done, I'm breaking up. And you really do move on because it's not like you really love them that much. But yeah, I feel like the main reason high school relationships end is trust issues and cheating and just dumb fights over nothing. And then like what you said, what do you even fight about? I don't know, right? What do you even fight about in high school relationships?
Everything.
Yeah, everything. Just the same thing we mentioned.
You really see me at lunch.
Yeah, you didn't say hi to me at lunch. You follow this girl on Instagram. You liked her picture. Which that whole thing is stupid.
You put a lot of volume in there. You okay?
I hate that whole liking picture thing. It's pictures. Like what's Instagram for?
You okay?
Like if you're liking a girl with her butt out, okay, yeah, that's kind of weird. But if you're just liking a picture of a girl, like girls be like, I went through his following to see all the girls that he liked. I mean, I won't lie, I went through a stage like that too. But that's when we were beefing. Like so, I had a reason to. I should be nosy and just call them ugly.
Nosy.
But some stuff is not that serious to me. Like, okay, you like the picture, ooh. Okay, if you're in a bikini, if she's sticking her tongue out and looking like a lollipop, yeah, okay, maybe you shouldn't be liking that picture if you're in a relationship.
Who's making those pictures?
There's girls that make those pictures. There's a lot of pick-me's on the internet who wanna.
My algorithms is different.
I don't see that on my timeline, but I just know they exist out there because girls really be trying to be cute. The Rams better win and I have them winning. But so then the next stage of life, we're gonna circle back to the beginning conversation. The next stage in life is college, and obviously we could speak on to that. What do you fight about in college? Pretty much the same things in high school, but times 10. I feel like it probably even high school. I mean, I feel like college relationships might be even worse than high school, because what the difference that you have in college and high school. When you're in college, you're still young, but the difference is you got freedom, and that freedom is dangerous, and some people don't know how to handle it. So I feel like actually the problems that you have in high school relationships are the same in college, but amplified. But on top of that, alcohol is involved. Alcohol is involved in high school, but it's involved heavily in college because you get access to it anywhere. And you're with the person literally 24/7 almost. Like classes are, like, in high school classes are back to back to back. So you will see your friends like maybe you got 2-minute break between classes, right? Or whatever it was. What was it, 5 minutes? I think it might have been 5 minutes that you had to get to your next class. But that's the time, like the times that you interact with people in high school, middle school is like that 5-minute break, right? Lunch, after school programs and sports, like pep rallies, games, and then outside of school, right? But in college, you got a class for an hour, and then your next class might not be until 10 hours later, So it's like, you might have a 7 a.m. class. I had a 7 a.m. class, which was crazy, in tax accounting, which was, who wants to do taxes at 7 o'clock in the morning? But you have that class from 7 to like 8:15 it was, I think. My next class that day was like 10 p.m. and it was like 7 p.m. to 10, something like that. So that's literally 12 hours. So that gives a lot of space in between time. You chilling with friends. You in the dorm watching movies, going to parties. So you have more time, and I think that's why people get closer in college with their college friends, because you really have more time. But then that backfires when it comes to relationships, and we can speak on that obviously because sometimes being around each other too much will make you fight, despite fighting. I can't talk. Fighting about nothing, like this bickering. Also, obviously, heavy trust issues because you out here at parties, you might see your person at the party wilding, which we. Were we together when that happened?
When what happened?
When you saw me, we was at the party and you was on the stage.
I was on the stage.
Yeah, you were somewhere. I was dancing. Remember? And you were mad about that because I got encouraged.
I was on the stage. No, I was behind you, I think.
What was I doing? Dancing?
Yeah, you were dancing on some random.
We weren't dating yet, were we? That was November, I think. I don't think
we weren't.
You didn't ask me to be a girl. I was single. But I know, obviously, I wasn't single, but I was still single.
I was mad.
You weren't really mad, but kind of just rubbed you the wrong way. Because,
no, I'm always chill.
Babe, you told me that to this day you still kind of feel way about that too.
No,
not about what I did, but about who encouraged me.
Yeah, but that's...
But I was single, and you were single.
Yeah, but it's not the... See, because it's tough to have these conversations without being so specific. That
Oh, okay, I know what you mean.
That
you're talking about that you see a pattern.
That particular person. No, let's keep it a stack. I said I'm turning up this podcast. It's the whole concept. Like, this is why guys don't want girls having girlfriends, because it's always the single friend that's going through some shit in their own relationship that's pressuring their friend to go, oh, go ahead, go do it, girl. Yeah. Go cheat, go do whatever, go dance on them, go. It's all that, right? So
yeah,
it's all that energy that I'm not rolling with. So especially given the person who it was, if that's my first interaction.
Yeah, that's just a bad taste in your mouth that you're always gonna have.
And because I don't feel entitled to anybody, I don't feel the need to be friends with anybody. If that's like one of my first interactions with you, then it is what it is. Not that the situation was so deep and I still care.
Yeah,
it's just that like. It's what it is. I don't feel a loss of not being friends with people. I don't care.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you do me dirty, it's fuck you forever. So
yeah,
that's just how I feel. But
that's why
it's not the situation, and not even necessarily you. It's more so
that's the principle.
The other person.
Yeah, can you know what the intent was?
Yeah, and I saw in her face, and I saw what she was saying. Because I was sitting in the back like a hawk.
Were we fighting that day?
We were.
Oh my god, it's just so funny how petty you are when you're young. I mean, people still do that stuff now, but it's like we fighting, so now we're gonna go to the club and dance in front of other guys and girls in front of each other. Like that, like okay. It was so, oh my god, that's so stupid. Sometimes I miss those days because it's just the drama and the fun and the pettiness. Like, okay, you're dancing with somebody else, cool, dumb. But yeah, that's the thing. Sometimes you don't. It's not like you're fighting. A couple literally might be in the same party, and then you see that happen. And it's like, and that can be official too, So I think that's why people fight in college. Definitely, like a lot more cheating. I think getting out of college together, like how we did it, is you got to be strong because, like, not even strong, but you got to be like, you just got to be loyal and like you just got to really work through it because I feel like there's so much cheating that goes on.
I had a really funny joke.
So much cheating.
I had a funny joke to insert there, but I don't know what our content rating is going to be, but it would have been funny.
What?
Nah, I can't say it on camera. That's not an off the camera type of joke.
What? In response to you got to be strong?
Yeah, it was going to be funny, but we can't do that.
Not even you got to be strong, like you just got to be, not even strong in the sense like to avoid temptation, but just strong in the sense of just being a loyal person, being loving, being communicative, being able to get through that stuff. Because there's a lot of, like we talked about this before, there's a lot of high school and college sweethearts that are married and everything. But among those high school sweethearts and college sweethearts, I'm sure there's still like a pretty decent percentage of people who got through who made it to that stage but went through cheating.
Yeah, of course. They cheated on each other 20 times, so it doesn't really wasn't.
Took each other back.
Yeah. Or never left each other and just
yeah,
kept it pushing.
But yeah, like I feel like out of all the stations in life, college is probably the hardest time to keep a relationship. And you got that academic stress, definitely. Even though, I don't know though, because because I think that freedom that you get it's just too much for a lot of people. And some people just wild out. I was saying, as an adult, you could really, you kind of get it off even worse because you got your own apartment. You might live in different cities, you know, different states, so it's easy to get that off.
Different states is crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, so then moving outside of college, I think like post college, when you're in like your 20s, still pretty young, I feel like all the fighting is similar, but it's not as heavy. Like I feel like a lot of people get the cheating on their system when they're young, but then again, not really, because circumstances, you might meet somebody at work and that temptation comes creeping back, and you're still young, you know. So I think you still have trust issues and still have cheating, but then also what happens when you're in your 20s and you're an adult, you know, you start moving into the other stuff. It's the whole bickering thing again. We're around each other too much. That happens. Bills, you know, we're experiencing that, but we don't fight over bills because we never had a problem with money, but we're experiencing what they're like is paying bills. But, you know, for us, it's been seamless. You know, some couples really fight badly over money. We haven't had a single fight about money. Like, we got money. Like, pay the bill. You pay this, they pay that. Who pay, like, oh, I'll pay for dinner tonight. Like, all right, cool. And like, you mostly pay for food, but sometimes I'll pay. Like, we never had an issue with money. So thank God. But I know that's a huge thing. Like, I think most couples actually divorce and fight over because of money. So I think as an adult, the biggest thing is money. And then post-adult, you know, once you have a family, like not post-adult, but like deeper into adult, once you have kids, I think that the fighting is money and kids. And there's still that small element of trust issues and cheating, but I don't think that happens that much. I mean, if it does happen, it's not really the focus because you focus so much on the kids and the money. That sometimes you put the trust issues on the back burner, you know? Like, I don't think you really even focus on if your partner's doing something like sneaky, unless I feel like some people make it too obvious. Because some people just like, that's the only reason it comes to their partner's attention. It's like, all right, I know what time to get out of work. Where are you at? Like, we got to take the kids someplace. Like, we got to do this, we got to do that. But yeah, I think that's all the stages of fighting. And I think when you're an old person, you just start bickering. I don't think you're really fighting over anything major. You're just bickering because you're old.
Thank you for all that. I just asked about high school, but thank you.
No, we didn't. We weren't just talking about high school.
Yes, we were.
No, we started talking about high school because I brought it back to the timeline. Yes, because we were talking about couples, and then we said, why do couples fight? And I said, yeah, why do couples fight? And then I said, let's start from high school and middle school. And that's how we got into high school.
Start from high school and middle school.
Yeah, relationships, that's what relationships started. You don't got no real relationship in kindergarten or elementary school.
I beg to differ.
Nah, you don't have a relationship until like...
I was in 4th grade bagging them.
Nah, I think like 8th grade. I don't count any relationship prior to 8th grade.
4th grade. It was lit.
My lash at the phone.
Hillcrest gang.
Hillcrest?
Mm-hmm. Hillcrest Elementary School.
All my schools were named after the cities I lived in. I bet that's like a popular thing in like Atlanta too, or like a lot of places. They call their school after like the names of the schools, and they'll be like, I went to C.J. Walker High School. I'm like, what? Like for me, in my mind, all schools are named after their cities. In middle schools, I'm like, oh, I went to Metro Boomin High School. I went to LeBron James Middle School.
Where's the Metro Boomin High School?
I went to LeBron James Middle School.
Wait, hold on. Let me. Hold up.
I went to Granwood. Well, that's a city. Like a lot of people from Atlanta always do that. They be like, "Yeah, I went to Jameson."
Metro Boomin. Yeah, no results found for the Metro Boomin High School.
Yeah, all my schools were named after just the city: Greenwich Elementary, Stewartsville Middle School, Phillipsburg High School.
When we gonna have a real conversation about how shows are low-key super trash and then they try to supplement it by just piling and compounding it with just sex scenes?
Yeah, that's a conversation to have now that the Euphoria is back on and it's coming on in 20 minutes. But I feel that's a good conversation to have because that's what everybody on social media has been talking about lately. And it's funny because me and you talked about this before in private. And then it seems like I feel like this always happens. Anytime we have a conversation about something, anytime we're into some type of fashion item, something, it always ends up blowing up. You know, it's just so weird to me. I don't know. But we had a whole conversation about this recently, like months ago, about the scenes, like sex scenes and the nudity scenes of what are supposed to be underage. And people's argument is like, we're actually underage. You know that, right? It's like, duh, but they're supposed to be. We're seeing them in school settings, right? In your mind, they are underage. So you're seeing them in school settings. You see them at parties, high school parties. Like, so in your mind, they're high schoolers. And it's still weird. And
Two different combos.
Okay, so what's the main combo?
I'm saying why I feel like low-key, and I'm not a movie writer, TV writer, whatever writer. So I'm not gonna sit here and try to talk about somebody else's skill in doing something when I can't do it. Like I wouldn't want to hear somebody that's never touched the FL Studio or
Yeah,
Ableton
to
or
tell
Pro
you.
Tools to try to tell me anything about music. So I don't want to be that type of person. But low key, I feel like people use like writers, directors, whoever, they use nudity and sex scenes as a way to supplement like a real trash like show.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so okay, yeah. So we're having two different conversations. We can talk about the other one next. But okay, I see what you mean. It doesn't even have to even be underage. It could just be any
Yeah, because like
any age.
there was that movie that like I hate when it's like people act like they don't watch porn or like they've never seen somebody naked before. Like I don't understand it. Like that whole show like that came out like what was it 2 years ago or whatever that was on Netflix and they were showing like the sex scenes and they were like detailed, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word. And then all the women were like, oh my God. Like all the people on TikTok like, oh my God, I just watched this movie.
Oh yeah, okay,
Crazy,
yeah.
whatever that movie was.
Sex Life or whatever?
Nah, what was that stupid shit where they were on the boat?
Oh my God, yeah. Didn't we watch that together?
Yeah,
We was at the hotel.
and I'm like, and then the scenes
Yeah,
came
and the
on.
movie
I'm
was
like,
trash.
I'm like,
Yeah,
yo,
and
this shit is terrible.
the scenes weren't even that crazy. Like no offense to people out there. I mean, it's usually like high school people
Yeah,
who
I'm
are
gonna get to
saying
that.
that.
I'm gonna get to
But
that.
people really be like exaggerating these scenes. They're like, oh my God, did you see that? Or oh, did you see the size? I'm like, I look at him like, the size, that's small, but okay.
Like, why are people acting like they never watched porn before? Like, I don't get the difference.
Yeah, and
It's the same
porn
thing.
is so much more graphic.
It's the
Because
whole-
you can see everything.
It's the whole act. Like, how is it being in a TV show make it any different?
Yeah,
I just feel
that's actually really a good question. Because people really exaggerate that stuff. Like, oh my God.
I'm like, yo, you could go to like mad different porn sites
And see way
everything.
worse.
Yeah, like you could the guy
See a girl with two things in her.
guy crawling up in there. Like you can see mad different things. So I don't understand how the Netflix show that doesn't show anything is so crazy.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I guess because it's more acceptable. Because like you could talk more on the internet and it'd be more accepted, especially if you're a younger girl. Like you're not about to get on the internet and be like, yeah, I watch porn. Like that's usually a men thing. Like men, I'm sure they talk about it amongst each other.
shit.
No, I know girls do too, and I know they have those conversations with
Yeah.
their friends. But it's usually not. It's kind of more taboo with girls. You know what I mean? Like me and my friends never talked about that in middle school, high school. I know some groups definitely did though. Some girls were definitely way more promiscuous or outgoing, and actually were having sex. Like me and my friends were just, no offense. I mean, not to put their info out there. I mean, they're not now. I'm not
Okay.
sure about all of them, but
And now it's just a snowball effect of putting out everybody else's business. Just shut up.
we were actually legitimately like people always be like, oh, they talk about Euphoria. They're like, Euphoria is real. It's not far fetched. And like for me, it is. Cause me and my friends literally were like,
Yeah, but
we didn't do
that's
it.
just your scope.
We didn't even go to parties.
That's just
Like,
your scope. Believe you me.
No, I know.
That the women in the porn thing, they might be more into that than we were.
Yeah. And that's why, but like I was saying, it's more taboo. So I feel like it's more generally accepted to have a show that you could watch on TV that's not like crazy, or go watch on Netflix. That's not you intentionally going to look for it. That's more, it's more like acceptable than girls talking about it. Because usually girls are getting those tweets off about those shows.
Yeah, and it's weird.
It is weird.
It's like just go like you've seen me before. Like stop it. Just because it's on HBO, which has been known. The whole HBO after like HBO might have birthed the whole nudity on TV thing like back in the 90s. They might have created that.
Because
They've
then
been
they
doing
have all
that.
those like TVMA.
Yeah, like they've been this is their bag because
Yeah.
it wasn't technically real cable TV where they can't do that.
Yeah.
So HBO has always been the company getting it off. But yeah, I just feel like they do that, and not
You
every
feel like I said, some shows do it because they know that's going to be like the leading thing. They know that's going to be like what reels people in to watch it.
yeah, and it's not just every show that does nudity is trash because there are some really well written shows that do that.
Yeah.
I don't particularly think they need to, but I could tell when other shows, companies, whatever, writers are using it as a crutch to
Yeah.
try to get little girls, which is creepy
watch
enough, to try to watch it. So that because that's what the viewership is, because that's who gets hyped off it. You're not
Yeah.
gonna have a grown person that's like, wait, I just did this last night.
Yeah.
I
And
don't care.
even boys are not really going to get hyped over it because they, like I said, I feel like it's less taboo for them to talk about it amongst each other.
Yeah, men is sending the OnlyFans unlimited
To their other
subscription links
friends, yeah.
on Reddit to each other. Like
Yeah.
they don't care. So it's just kind of like a weird thing, and this is where we're gonna segue into Euphoria specifically, because in my opinion, the whole idea of incorporating nudity and stuff in the movies is more so for the like high school girls, which is sick.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that like it's new, taboo. It's like, ooh, oh my God.
Yeah.
Whereas everybody else is grown and we do that stuff anyway. So it doesn't really matter. Now, this conversation is going to have two parts. One
Yeah.
is about Euphoria specifically, which we'll start with, and the other one is about the pedophiles in the industry. So I don't watch Euphoria. I'm aware of it. I'm aware of the storyline. I'm aware of the content, all that kind of stuff, but I don't personally watch it. So.
And I think the biggest appeal to Euphoria was Zendaya. Because people like Zendaya, and they wanted to see her in like how she is in like an adult role. Well, it's still high school, but a more mature role, I guess.
Growing outside that Disney.
Yeah. Even though it is interesting that she's trying to, separate herself from that, which I feel like she done a good job because she had that Marie and Malcolm thing. Did you watch that?
Malcolm and Marie, yes,
we watched it. Yeah, when they was the whole episode. I mean, the movie was based on relationship issues. And then this, obviously, and then the Spider-Man stuff. Even though Spider-Man still kind of pitching that Disney-esque thing, but
because Disney owns it.
Yeah, but it's
Sony
interesting.
owns it. Sorry.
Yeah. So it's interesting that she doesn't move away from it, but then she's still signed in her contract a no nudity thing. That's why I don't know if you saw that first episode of this season with me. I don't know if you were in the room when we was watching. Yeah, you were. And I was like, oh my God, we about to see Zendaya naked. I was freaking out because I'm like, this is weird. But then they did it in a way where we didn't see her naked.
Yeah, she's not giving that up.
Yeah, she signed that in the contract, which is good. Damn.
Yeah. Go for it. You got to explain it.
So yeah, we're talking about the underage thing of Euphoria, right?
No, we're talking about Euphoria first, and then we're just going to have a broader conversation. Just talk about Euphoria and the whole nudity thing.
Yeah, and then being underage.
Sure.
Or no, so wait, you're just talking
okay.
about. No, wait, no, I'm trying. Can we talk about that next, the underage thing? But you're talking about just the fact that Euphoria uses that to gain an audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the fact that Zendaya is in the show, and I was like, the thing that you like, people were probably watching every episode to see if they're ever going to see Zendaya naked until they found out this season that you're not going to. And also, it's like obviously Zendaya was the main thing I feel like that put people into it. It's like, oh, what's the show that Zendaya is in? And she's like executive producer on it, right? I think there's a whole bunch of stuff. So they're like, okay, we're gonna check this out. And then you watch the first episode and you're like, oh, this is gonna be crazy. They do everything possible in the first episode. They show that obviously drugs. They show relationship stuff. They show that that there's trans woman in it. The main character, Jules. They show there's gonna be stuff with like her messing with that guy's her own classmate's dad. So like they're showing like basically like pedophilia and like underage like interactions, whatever. And then you see like, oh snap, we're about to see like people naked, like so they literally do everything in that. Like I feel like those first few episodes to pull people in easily. And I do think, like you were saying before, like shows definitely do that to pull in, because every episode you were anticipating that. And that's why this season they're ODing it with the male parts. I try not to say certain words so we won't get flagged, but the male parts. And like, I'm like, why am I seeing this every episode? These little shriveled up shrimps. Like, please get this off my screen.
Let me jump in there too. That's another thing. The reason why they're showing that versus the female genitalia is because the little girls that are going to watch the show are not going to be interested in seeing other girls. They're going to be interested in
that's so creepy.
Like, no, listen, we're going to get into it. Like Euphoria, like
it's so weird.
I love A24 as a company. Their visuals, they're amazing. I don't even know if they're responsible for writing it. I'm assuming they are.
That guy Sam Levinson.
Yeah,
is he in A24?
I don't know. Because
that's the issue people got. They got the issue with him. They think he's the weirdo because he's writing these scenes.
Yeah, those things are what are grabbing, are for the intention of grabbing kids.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna say
like, oh my God, did you see? Oh my God, did you see? Like everybody talks specifically about the bathroom scene because the one guy who sat on the toilet, his was like huge. Apparently, I mean, I'm not rating it because that's weird, but that's to some people they consider that huge. So
I haven't watched it, so it's tough for me to give such a hard definitive. They're using it as a crutch for poor writing.
Tonight's episode's gonna be crazy, so you should watch it with me.
But I don't know, man. I don't know, because to me, if a movie, scene, show, whatever is more effective, I mean, is it just as effective without it, then it's not needed. If you're doing it for the purpose of conveying something specific, like I've seen rape scenes in movies where they show the rape,
and which makes sense, because it has to invoke that emotion.
Which was the point of it.
Yeah, to get angry.
I've seen other things where it was implied, and it just where it could work either way. But are they using it as a crutch?
I think they are, because the appeal of Euphoria is that it's such this like raw, unfiltered show. So I get that. Like, I get that sometimes you need to actually show those scenes to really feel like these, this is what's happening. Like, you got to feel the passion. You got to feel the emotion, You got to, like, I do think some scenes are unnecessary, but I do understand, like, for a show like that, they want to just be raw and unfiltered. They want to show the reality of this is how high school is for people, So I get that. I do. But I do think sometimes they definitely add unnecessary stuff just because, and then, but yeah, with Euphoria specifically, though, I really think this is like a show. It's almost like kind of like Degrassi. Like people compare it to like certain shows, but like on drugs. So it's almost like Degrassi, because Degrassi was like that too. But I don't even remember in Degrassi having that much like sex scenes. I would have to go rewatch it, but I don't think they did it as much. I think they did it in a way better way where they implied it. And that's why, to get into the whole underage thing, I think with these shows and movies where these characters are supposed to be underage, I think you can imply it. Like I really like, but like it's like we said though, for a show like Euphoria, I get it. Like I feel like you have to see it, but they overdo it. But I do think there's some ways where it could be implied, and it's like we don't really gotta see this.
Let me ask you this, because I think that it's like I go back and forth on it. I think what might make it nasty is the context of they're supposed to be high school kids. I don't know.
Yeah,
I get it, because having a show that literally.
That's why people were saying that Euphoria, they wish it was about college.
Yeah, because that's really how it kind of is. So I understand.
You notice how we don't really have a lot of shows that are centered around college. Like that would be. I would really watch that, because like I feel like, and we're getting so removed from college.
No, I'm not watching that show.
Like we're 4 years out almost. So it's like, dang, but we never really had a show that was about college. I'm like I want that. Like, how come all these shows gotta be about high school? Like I've been out of high school for almost 10 years. I don't really care about high school anymore.
No, but we talked about this, and this is where like the borderline pedophilia kind of thing comes in. It's because it doesn't, like, I don't feel like it invokes the same sort of like reaction.
Yeah, if you're in college.
Yeah, if you're like I mean, in terms of the target audience, like.
Yeah, cause you know what? Sorry to keep interrupting you. There was a whole conversation on TikTok like that. They're like, "Who's the target audience of Euphoria?" And then one girl kind of made it seem like the target audience should only be high schoolers, and this one girl was like, "Damn, I'm 25. I can't watch it." And she was like, "I didn't mean it like that." She's like, "You guys like watch it too," but she feels that that's what's the target with people who are in those stages, or it's like either the people who are in it or people who are past it. And I'm like, I don't know. I think mostly the target is people who are still in high school.
Yeah, I only think it's for the people still in high school. I think that any viewer that they get that comes after that is just kind of like extra. But I think the target audience is high schoolers, because that's who's
living it.
Not even that so much as that's who's like easily impressed by things. Like kids are so impressionable that they're gonna go to school and be like, oh my God, like the drugs.
Euphoria, like, yeah. Do you see the last episode? Like,
but anybody that's grown has seen people do coke off of
in person,
like the length of the table, like,
in person,
yeah, like all across the kitchen counter. So it's not like
I think the shock value is not the same when you actually seen these things. Like you see crazy stuff at college parties. You see a whole bunch of stuff.
Way worse. You hear
things. Stuff like, so when you're in high school, this stuff is not really like, people are really living like Euphoria, but some people aren't. A lot of people aren't, and a lot of people aren't experiencing that, and their schools aren't experiencing that. They can't go to school wearing crop tops and glitter eyeshadow like. That's not realistic for a lot of people. So they definitely love it.
So the question I ask you, one, and keep your answers concise as possible. First is, do you think they're using it as a crutch? And by crutch I mean, is the show not good, but the only good part of it is the nudity and drugs?
Ooh, that's a good question. Yeah, I mean, like the storylines, I will say, like their storylines are interesting. They are good, but honestly, a lot of their storylines are centered around either Zendaya's character with the drugs, her drug problem, and like hoping that she gets better, and relationships. Like, I mean, they do have like real life problems, right? Like the dad being he was gay as a kid, right? Then he got a girl pregnant. Like he was like the storyline, like from last episode they showed out. He had like a best friend growing up. Like you saw parts of that, right? I don't know if you were here and it was on, but he had a best friend growing up. They were clearly gay. And they kissed and everything. The next day he found out his girlfriend was pregnant, and his girlfriend knew low key that he was gay. Like you could tell that she was kind of looking like, what you guys on? But so you have like these different like storylines. Like, okay, you have the dad who's gay, who grew up, who's still angry now. He's having sex with an underage trans girl. It's like there's a lot of weird stuff going on, right? And then the same girl that he has sex with, his son likes. Weirdo stuff. So it's like a lot of interesting storylines. So I don't know if it's necessarily a crush, but I do feel like they need it. Like, I mean, that's what a crush is, but it's like it's not necessarily like needed, but they know that it adds that extra like viewership it adds that extra like rawness and realness. So I do think at the end of the day they do need it. I don't want to say it's necessarily a crush like it's imperative, but I do think they definitely add it for the reason that they know that people like it. Like, even though this conversation is being had about how weird it is, like how we're having it, but they know more people than not are for it.
2, do you think it's problematic? the show?
Yeah, it's interesting because somebody, I think it was Dare, actually just came out saying that they think that the show promotes drug use. And I don't know if they said anything about it promoting sex. You know, Dare is mostly about drug use, but I'm sure there's some stuff about it claims that it's promoting sex also. So I think it can be problematic. But I think at the end of the day, if anybody's influenced by a show or influenced in general, I think that's your problem. Like, it's the same thing with music, right? How everybody's like, WAP and all these songs are so bad, and Cardi B's not a good example. But at the end of the day, as a parent, you're in charge to raise your kid right properly, you know? And honestly, if you're raising your kid properly the right way, they will have the mindset to be scared to do drugs and to know what it will do to them. I know curiosity is a thing and everybody goes through that curiosity, but look at me. I've been alive 25 years. I never once had any type of desire to do crack or cocaine or anything.
Let me jump in there.
Because that's just how, it's not even really how I was raised, because my parents never talked to us about drugs, but in my mind, it was never something I would do because I just don't want to do that. It scares me. And I'm very like a hypochondriac person. Like, so I don't do anything. I don't even like smoking weed because I don't like feeling like I'm not human. I don't like feeling anything different than how I'm feeling now.
I think one issue with the depiction of drug use in popular media is that it's usually characterized in a way that makes it sound or look enjoyable.
Yeah.
Because hold on.
Okay, sorry.
And that's just what's popular. Because obviously, if you go watch Snowfall, for example, when homegirl, forget her name, was all cracked out in the both of them, her and
another girl got on that path too. Yeah.
Then they was in a crack house and sleeping in like the abandoned buildings and stuff like that. Obviously, that's the real true depiction of it. Or
and then you see how like the girl, I forgot her names too, but the one that
spiraled down.
But I hate to say this, but like the cuter one, the one that was Franklin's girl, right? Were they dating officially, or like they were friends, or then they kind of dated? Yeah. But you know, like seeing her like get into that, you're like, damn, like not the good girl, because that's how she was depicted, the good girl, the sweet girl, you know, like. And then you see that how she turned from that until and was going down that spiral. That's sad. So I feel like shows like that make you not want to use it. But like I said, most shows they show you popping the pills, snorting the coke, and you're like having a fun time, but they don't show the addiction.
Yeah, like Project X, we were just randomly watching, and they were doing a bunch of E. Any of the Cheech and Chong movies, like Harold and Kumar, like any of the Pineapple Express, any of those sort of like weed, druggy sort of movies. Usually they don't depict anything bad. It's usually just a fun comedy sort of thing. And they don't ever really do like a true depiction of drug use. In this show, I'm assuming they are with
Euphoria.
With Zendaya's character.
Yeah, and that's why like I like this tweet earlier today where it was like, like I don't know if I agree with Dare, because I don't think this is encourages drug use at all. I think if anything, you see how it affects you. Like they push it so hard on Euphoria of it being negative. Zendaya's character, her sister on the show, literally like cries and pleads for her to stop. Like her mom is literally like you see how it affects the family. Everybody likes this character. His name Ali. He's kind of like somebody that she met, and I think I gotta watch season 1 again, but I'm pretty sure she met him in what's the thing where you go for like rehab? Not even rehab, but like where you go to like how alcohol is anonymous. They all sit in a circle. What are those things called for drug uses? It's not really rehab. You kind of it's almost like an AA for drugs. I'm not sure what it's called. I forgot what it's called.
Yeah, just meetings.
But yeah, the meetings. I think that's where she met him, and he really cares for her, like almost like a dad, like he's like an older black character, like he's like in his 40s, I think 50s, like you can tell he's older, and he really looks out for her. And they had a whole special episode, like post-season, and it was like an hour long. And the whole episode, it was a very interesting concept. The whole episode was literally Zendaya's character and the Ali guy in the diner talking the whole episode. Like it's an hour long, rather than just talking, like a continuous conversation. I thought it was a good, cool concept. And he says like vulnerable stuff to her, about his family and stuff. And she literally used it against him in the last episode simply because he asked her what was in the suitcase. Because Zendaya's character is now getting involved with trying to trade drugs. I think I told you about this. She's so addicted that she's literally not trying to be a dealer and she's using the drugs. And the girl is like dangerous. Remember I saw you, she was like, if you don't get my money, we're gonna kidnap you and sell you. Yeah, people should have watched it. But so now you're seeing like the spiral of Zendaya is bad, and like it's ruining her relationships. It's ruining her family relationships. Now she's about to like people have a theory that they feel like the Ali character, he was obviously on drugs too. That's why she met him there. That he's gonna relapse because Zendaya literally using something vulnerable that he said to her against him simply by being mad. He's like, you can tell he's about to snap. He's like, say like disrespect me again, and like that's it, I'm done with you. Like you could tell he was on the verge of snapping, and people have a theory that he's gonna relapse and possibly overdose and die. Cause like on the preview they showed her crying at church, like she was at a funeral or something. And it's that's I think that's what the show does a good job of showing how damaging being an addict is to everyone around you. And now you might have been damaged you might have been damaged so much that you literally made someone else relapse, and now he might die. That's people's theory. I hope that's not true, but we'll see. So that's why I don't agree with there. I don't think Euphoria promotes drug use. I think if anything, like if anybody's watching that, like that's what the tweet I liked. If I was in high school right now watching that, I would be scared. Even if you're not in high school, you would be like, I'm not doing that to myself. Like the Zendaya's character always looks dusty. Like she doesn't wear makeup on the show at all. She looks dusty, you know. She just looks like, and wearing makeup. Not saying that you don't look, that wearing makeup makes you not look dusty. I just mean like her hair's not done ever. She wears like kind of like tomboyish clothes, and I think she is a tomboy on the show. You know, she's gay on the show, but definitely, I don't think the show promotes drug use. I know it's a long drawn out answer, but I don't think. I think they will make people scared. So I don't think it's harmful. I think it could be harmful in the sense of the sex though. But okay, people in high school are having sex. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
You think it's a big deal?
I think that
I personally wasn't. If anybody out there want to know, I think I talked to
nobody
this
asked
before. I didn't have sex until college.
Nobody asked. I think that it's the only right. It's one of those things. Like obviously, people do whatever they're gonna do in high school.
Yeah.
I think, and this is not even necessarily the responsibility of the show. Maybe I guess you can argue for it, but kids are mad impressionable. Like that's where people pick up their like. Pick up all those negative habits is when you're young. I think it could not necessarily. I think it could expose you to some things that you may not have seen, and maybe seeing it depicted in a certain way on a TV show that might not actually be the reality is kind of like a potentially hazardous thing. Like if there's
porn is not based in high school.
Yeah.
So you're seeing scenes of people literally having sex in high school, like actually on a lot of shows they depict them in classrooms, which is so unrealistic. It'd be like a teacher messing with a student, and we gotta talk about that too. Like we're gonna have a whole deep conversation. We said we're gonna talk about the pedophilia in the industry because there's so many shows out like this. Pretty Little Liars, literally one of the main characters having a relationship with the teacher, like relationship, literally. We'll talk about that next. But yeah, these shows are depicted with them in high school settings. Or you're seeing the scene, and the next scene you're seeing them in school. They're not seeing that from porn.
Yeah.
If they're watching out of curiosity. So in their minds, it's like, oh, I can see myself as these characters and doing these things.
Yeah, it's the way it's depicted and just the exposure to some things that might not necessarily be like in their mind. Like I don't want to be too X-rated on the like the example. Because, you know, YouTube and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But, like, say they're engaging in a certain act, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. If you haven't been exposed to that in real life or even in porn, then, and that's your first time seeing it, or it might tweak your little child brain to be predisposed to some certain mindset of, like, or, like, even, like, imagine, like 50 Shades of Grey, for example, that was obviously a big deal to, you know, younger audiences too, because it was like, oh my God, he's using handcuffs and stuff like that.
People thought it was so like what's the word? They thought it was so like groundbreaking. Like how, like I'm like, even that was like over dramatized. It's like, okay.
Yeah. So in my opinion, stuff like that could be harmful. Not literally the handcuff example, but if there's anything like that where it's like, oh, you know, I can imagine, because this might be a weird thing to say, but me being a man, I could imagine how terrifying it must be for a woman to really honestly engage in sexual acts with any man. Like that seems like a kind of wild thing because men are obviously more powerful, you know, physically, and you're expected to do X, Y, Z because men have watched porn for all eternity, and then their expectations are different. So they're expecting you to do all these different things and do things that you might not be comfortable with or might put you in pain, whatever it might be, because guys can be sick. If they're depicting those things and then a young impressionable girl is watching that and now she feels mentally like, oh, well, I got to do this.
And that's actually the case for a lot of girls.
Yeah.
Like girls have that conversation now being adults and like, dang, when I was younger, I really thought that's what it had to be like. I'm like, that's sad. And that's why, like, you know, we always have this conversation about how I would want to be with our kids. But that's why I would want to be so honest and open with our kids about all that stuff. Like, parents don't have those talks with their kids. So that's where they learn it from and pick it up on TV. Like, I'd be like, no, sex don't gotta be like that. You don't gotta be like that. It's not normal. Like, some people might do that. That might be their bag. But that's not an expectation. That's not the norm of every single time. But some people don't know that.
And that's with whatever. I'm not even necessarily saying anything extreme. Like, some people might not want whatever. Like, even something that's deemed normal, they might not even want that. So that's the only thing that I think might be, dangerous or potentially harmful.
Yeah, and that's why I say, if anything, from Euphoria, the harmfulness is not in the drugs and what a lot of the show is about. The harmfulness, I think, for me, would be from those scenes. But like I said, at the end of the day, as a parent, it's your job to teach your kids stuff like that. It's your job to talk to them. It's your job. I wouldn't even say it's your job to monitor what they watch, because I feel like a reality that I'm gonna have to face, and like the reality that we will have to face. You can't hide your kids from this stuff. Like, people think they could shield their kids from the world. Like, my advice to everybody is, don't have kids if you're gonna control them like that. If you want to control them like they're a robot, or like a pet. Like, they're gonna find ways to watch the show. They're going to find ways to, they watch it at school. They're going to go to their after school programs. Let's say they're there and really not be. They're probably going to be sneaking around. Like, that stuff you kind of have to accept as a parent. And you can't be too crazy with them. So I won't even say monitor what they listen to or what they watch. You just have to be honest with them about everything, to the point where they could come to you and say, hey, Mom, I watched the show Euphoria and this happened. Is this real? Like, they should be comfortable coming to you to say, asking that. I won't even encourage watching the show together with them, because I feel that's like, all right, let them have their thing. They might not even be comfortable doing that with their parent.
And no kid is doing that either.
Yeah. But it's like,
no kid is coming to you and saying that.
Yeah, let's watch Euphoria, Mom.
No, I'm saying in general, no kid is doing that.
No, I think I could have said that maybe, like, oh my God, sorry. I could say from, I don't know how you were raised, but from my experience, me and my parents never talked about that stuff. So I think we might just be speaking from experience. I know from, like, some friends who literally was like best friends with their mom, like, and their mom, like, they talked about that stuff with their mom, like, literally, they talked about the guys they've been with, like, stuff like that. So some relationships, that's the relationship I want with my kids. I want my kids not to necessarily see me as a friend, but to see me as someone they could talk to about anything, and not be, obviously as a human, you still might have stuff that you're secret about and not necessarily want to share, but I just want them to be comfortable enough to say, ask me certain questions, or be curious about stuff. So I don't know. I really can't say that shows or artists or anybody is responsible for teaching kids how to be. Like, they make the shows, with them in mind and targeting them. But at the end of the day, I think you as a person, and like, I know, like, when you're a kid, your brain's not fully developed. But that's actually a scientific fact, that your brain is not developed fully. I think our brains are just now reaching full development, which is crazy, because sometimes we always talk about how we feel different now than we felt in high school. That's probably why, right? Like, we're maturing. So yeah, like, unfortunately, that's the thing. And even you could be like the most smartest person, or I think most smartest, it's like what's that, double negative? You could be the smartest person and still fall to stuff, But at the end of the day, I feel like I said, the example I use for myself, we had shows like this growing up. That's why a lot of shows that I watched growing up were based on high school, and I were the target audience. Pretty Little Liars, Teen Wolf, all these shows that I watched were based in high school, and I enjoyed them. But it never made me once watch a show wanting a relationship with my teacher. Because Aria and Pretty Little Liars had a relationship with teacher. I didn't want that just because the show depicted that, I see, we grew up in Project X. We was in high school. We was in the prime of like that, what that whole movie was about when Project X came out. That's like, that we was at that age. I never once, I did want to go to a Project X party, but I never wanted to do drugs.
Okay, you're using yourself as an
example. No, I'm saying there's other people like that who out there like me too, who feel the same way. Just because I see that in the show, I'm not going to be impressionable. But I get there are people like
there's
that.
There's mad people like, I know mad girls I went to school with that wanted to get with the teachers.
Yeah.
Like, I can name them.
Yeah, but then that's, at the end of the day, that's a you problem. That's like, you can't blame the producers on the show. That's you. Even though the producers are still wrong and necessarily shouldn't be doing it because it's kind of weird, that's still a you problem. At the end of the day, you got to develop as a person, have emotional intelligence, and just be smart.
All right. Why do we... Right, because if the conversation is about the producers, writers, directors, whatever, and Hollywood, all of them being weirdos, why do we still let them get this stuff off?
That's a good question. Cause that's what people were saying. If you're saying all this about Euphoria, and it says, but you know, even me, I'm saying it, but it's like, but you're still gonna watch.
Yeah.
It's a hard question. Honestly,
Easy question.
With Euphoria, I personally like the storylines outside of all the scenes stuff. It's weird to me, but I still know at the end of the day, at least there actually are adults. Like if they were really kids, then okay, I'm not watching that. But at least in my mind, all right, yeah, I don't really agree with this, but they're adults. I could pause it during those parts. You know, we have HBO Max. You could fast forward it. You know, you could work around it and still get the storyline. Because storylines are interesting and the stuff people do go through. But as far as the Hollywood people getting off, I think there's not enough outrage about it, and all those people have too much control and too much money for there to ever be a switch. You know what I mean? Like because they get it off because their actors and actresses are they're not underage, so they really do get it off because you can't like what could you say they're legally even wrong? It might be weird, but they're not breaking any laws. So it's like they could get it off, and there's nothing really people could do about it because it's like if you try to argue with them about it, it's like, well, what am I doing wrong? They're adults. Okay, no, yeah, they're supposed to be kids.
No, I don't mean legally. I mean, why do people... You would agree that depicting underage kids having sex is weird, right?
Yeah.
So why do we let them get that off is what I'm asking.
Because
you want to see people doing drugs on a TV show every Sunday?
I think because with a show like Euphoria, it's so popular and people love it. Like outside of those scenes, they love it. They love the storylines that it's so generally normalized and accepted in a popular show that people are just complying in it and they're just gonna keep watching every week because everybody watches it and everybody talks about it. So they want to be a part of the conversation.
So people are complicit in implied pedophilia.
Low key, yeah. And gotcha. I think it is a problem, and I think it has to be discussed. And it's just unfortunate that it's not more discussed. Because I think people love the show so much, and they will look past something like that. You know, like not necessarily that they agree with it, but they'll look past at it with fear of like, okay, if we all speak out, all stop talking about it, the show's gonna end, and people want the answers to the plots of the show.
That's why I can't engage in Twitter conversations and the outrage because it's all fickle and people just want to have something to be mad about because it's not even a real.
I mean, opinion. A lot of people who do say that stuff though stand by their word. They'll make those TikToks and be like, I don't watch that show. I don't watch that stupid show. Like they'll say stuff like that. I'm like, all right, I can respect that.
I think it's nuts though, right? Like I don't watch the show, not for me, but I am familiar with season 1. I'm just a fan of the production company. So obviously, I'm gonna try to tap into anything that they do as much as possible.
And their stuff is good because he explained it this year how like the first season was like the glitter makeup and like it'd be uppity. This season the theme is like if they said when you watch it, you feel you're watching a memory because it's like kind of more dark theme. So I love that stuff too. I love like the shots of like they showed the girls running with the guy after he got beat up at the party, and how the girl who's the ex-girlfriend. She was stable. She was fine. You know, she was running, and the best friend who was messing with her ex was all like frantic, tripping over her feet. Like a shot like that is like fire. You know, I think she was wearing like black, other girls wearing white, so the yin yang thing. Like the girl's hand, they showed a shot where the girl's hand had no blood, the other one had a whole bunch of blood. Like that. I love shots like that because it's like, that's artistic. So that's why you're saying like you watch it for that. Like you watch it because you like to see what their work is. And it's Zendaya, so you knew it was like something reputable.
And I didn't even really watch it. I just saw whatever clips. I didn't really ever watch any episodes because I don't have HBO Max.
Yeah.
But I'm familiar with the Sydney Sweeney.
Alexa Demi, right? Do you know her?
No. Well, no, yeah, that's the skinny-ish one, right?
Just Hispanic one or Latina. I'm not sure if she's which. She is. The where they leaked the nudes in real life for the show.
Yeah. Okay, unique idea. Because at first I was like, okay, that's fire. That was my first impression. Because it was like, okay, that's something unique. You're tying real life into art. Art imitates life. Life imitates art. I'm like, that's unique. Nobody's ever done that before. Kind of cool. Yeah. Sydney said that she is cool with nudity, whatever. So I'm cool there. Given the context of what you told me earlier today about the writer and the whole thought process about him being weird and a pedophile, or just being weird. And let's not throw that word on him since we don't know anything. It's kind of nasty because it's exploitative, in my opinion. Because even though Sydney is said that she's willing to do stuff like that, it's almost
like you have the permission, but then you overdo it.
Yeah, like you went so crazy.
And that's what people were saying. Like, you didn't watch that last episode. Like she was naked like probably 30 minutes of the hour episode. Like they overdid it.
Yeah, like you going too crazy, because that's like the whole thing with Dan Schneider and like how
with the foot thing.
With how he was getting all types of crazy stuff off.
And
it's
what
like,
did we watch recently where they said that they were talking about the guy, some producer had a foot fetish too, some Hollywood producer. Now he did a lot of scenes like that in movies.
Well, Tarantino for sure.
Maybe that's what they were talking about. I think they were talking about Tarantino, and I don't know if we were watching that together.
Dan Schneider was the
no, yeah, he was. But I'm talking about that was a Hollywood producer too that was like that. I think it was Tarantino.
Yeah, Tarantino always has something with feet.
Did we watch that together? Or I think maybe I watched that with somebody talking about Euphoria. Maybe that was a Euphoria conversation. They were saying the same thing, how producers have a thing that they like, and then that's why they be on set getting off to it, low key.
Yeah, he had of course I'm gonna forget her name. Selma Hayek put her foot in his mouth, and God, what was that movie? I forget what movie, but it's when she was dancing on the table, and Tarantino, he's a director, but he puts himself in his own movie sometimes. He was sitting at the end of the table and she put her foot in his mouth. Or like...
And, it wasn't like the shot, the camera was like zoomed in, kind of, right?
Yeah, so like Uma Thurman is being barefoot a lot and stuff like that.
Yeah,
There's like a lot of weird shit.
Yeah, and that's why people think that Sam Levinson guy, like the writer, because he's on set, like they get off to that. Like, not only are they getting off the scene like somebody like Sydney Sweeney, who's like, kind of like, I guess you would say she's like desirable, the people like her.
Yeah, I would say so.
So then, you have somebody who's like not only desirable, but somebody also who's portraying someone underage. You might be getting off double time. This is weird.
Yeah, because he's like, nah, let's shoot that.
Yeah, shoot that again.
Wait, hold up. Yeah,
have more passion.
No, I was going to make that joke, but I wanted to preface it, but it's not funny at all. It's not funny.
But it's just creepy.
But that's what they do. Like, yeah, let's get that one again.
Yeah, make it look like you're enjoying it more. Like, ew.
Like, he got off to like, you do the phone selfie thing, so he could like imagine that she was sending it to him.
Mm-hmm.
Shit like that. Like, that's part of the reason why.
So bad.
I'm not perfect, so I don't do everything perfect. I don't think I'm perfect. There's some things that I could change about myself. One thing that I do stand on probably one of the only things I stand on really, is when it comes to protecting kids, not sexually exploiting women, and no violence against women. There's really kind of like three things that I'll die over.
Mm-hmm.
Now, depending on your opinions on pornography, you could say that exploitation of women. I wouldn't argue with you there if someone was to say that.
Definitely, especially because the pay disparity. That's why people do OnlyFans now. Yeah, that heard they got paid like nothing.
Yeah, what is it
like they take all the money.
Yeah,
and it's usually men in charge.
And that would
like I think
because they don't need to like.
Like, I think Mia Khalifa told her story, right? Like, didn't we talk about this? How she got paid? She got paid like once too. You don't get any royalties, depending on your contract.
No, you're never getting royalties because it's the most pirated industry ever. Yeah. So you do one.
You pay once, yeah. You get one payment, and it might be out of here.
It's on 1,000 different websites, yeah. And hers specifically is probably after Kim K. I'm pretty sure Mia is #1 most viewed videos ever. Which is insane. If not #1, Kim K might be #2, but I don't think so. I think Kim K is one.
With her, it makes sense because like it's kind of the word of mouth thing, but it was like such a crazy thing because she's like Muslim or something, right? Like her religion.
Yeah, and then she got a whole bunch of death threats and she can't go back to her home country, whatever.
So crazy. But did I get a payment? Oh.
So nah. I wouldn't be opposed if somebody said that too, if that's considered exploitative, because I do consume
it's definitely in so many ways.
I consume it, and so I don't want to be a hypocrite in that sense. But when I say exploitative, I mean like putting women in financial pressure of I'm not gonna pay this bill, or like you can't send your child to daycare unless you do this kind of thing. Like that's specific.
And you think that's what's going on in Hollywood? Because it's almost like if you speak up or you do this, you're not getting no you're not getting placements.
Yeah, and if you don't do this, then you're not going to be in a hit
And that's
HBO
what's his name
show.
did. What's that guy? Harvey Weinstein. That's
Whatever, all of them
Harvey.
do.
Yeah, and that's why people are so complicit in it and don't speak out because they're scared themselves that they're gonna get blackballed.
Because then you got people thinking about how they're going to eat, especially being an actor or actress where you don't get roles like that, and you're dealing with the most powerful person in Hollywood at the time, where he supposedly was able to just flip a switch and delete your acting career.
Yeah.
And you got the difference between having no career and possibly having to go wait tables for the rest of your life, or you can make millions of dollars. So that's what I mean in terms of exploiting women, putting them in these situations where they feel like they have to. Because I'm sure Sydney, like, even though she said she's okay with it, I'm sure if there was the option to not do so.
Yeah, she might not want to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or she would be like, oh, like, you know, it would kind of be nice to be known as a character, not that's always naked in the show.
Yeah, because then that becomes your...
And she sent it to that stuff because there was like a clip going around from, I guess, from Euphoria. I don't even know if it was from Euphoria related, but she was crying on live saying how she's human. And people were, I guess, were being mean.
Of course.
Coming at her looks. So imagine now, like, you're already that sensitive. Now your body's being shown every week. And now people are ready, they don't even like your character. You know, sometimes people are crazy. They hate your
They take
character.
it
And
into
they act
real life.
like, yeah, it's like, you're sick. You're this. You are bad friends. Like, that's not really me. You know that, right? Like, it's a character. But, yeah, and it's sad too because, like you said, the whole thing Euphoria is a popular show, and they're seeing it. Like that guy, his name is Angus Cloud. He the guy who plays like the drug dealer. I don't know if you heard his story. We talked about this already. How he was just walking around New York, and the casting director just said, "Hey, do you want to be in the show?" Like I guess they saw him and thought he had that look that they wanted, and he thought it was a scam. He said, and you could tell like him in real life, he sounds like how he does on the show. Like I don't think he's acting. Like he has no acting experience. He was just random. And I think that's just a cool story. And his tweets get hundreds of thousands of likes. Every tweet, 'cause people love the show so much. Like there's a ship that they like. It's him and this girl Lexi. So they call his character on the show is Fez. So he just tweeted the word Fexi, like Fexi for the ship name. It got like 500,000 likes. So you know you were feeling that. Like all these characters got like tens of millions of followers. I think like all of them probably got tens of millions on Instagram. So they're seeing the success. They're seeing the numbers in their lives. They're seeing the tweet numbers. They're seeing the follower numbers, the likes, the comments, all the love that they're getting. You're not necessarily gonna try to upset anybody on that board and get kicked off the show. Like you're thinking about your family, right? Like you said, you're thinking about the money. You're just looking outwards. You think about the opportunities you might get from this, even if you're uncomfortable with the scenes. But you know, like you said, they exploited. At the end of the day, she did agree to it, though. You know, like Zendaya said no, she didn't agree to it. So it's kind of like. Is that your job to say no?
Yeah, but it's Zendaya versus Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah.
It's the leverage that you have. But you can, you know, I mean, she made the decision to do it season 1. Okay. But for remaining seasons, and this is, of course, if she's not comfortable with it, but I feel like...
Yeah, she could say no going forward.
Given the context, like, yeah, like, I'm going to drop off this show and then you deal with the lower viewership.
Yeah, because you have leverage, too, as a character. If you're a main character...
Now you do.
Yeah, now you do. After the first season, yep. Because that's why people are worried. Because there's rumors. Like, I don't know what is going on. Like, I'm not fully into it. I heard it's like Reddit threads and Lipstick Alley threads. There's like rumors that like the spoilers that apparently have been right so far that got exposed. And it's like insider information that somebody's exposing from the inside that no one's not confirmed. But they're saying like the one character, her name's Kat. She's like the kind of the bigger Spanish girl. They're saying how this season she didn't really like how her character was going to be depicted. And like they were saying this season is going to be apparently very dark. And it wasn't aligning with her views. So she's not in the season as much, which I kind of noticed she really isn't. Like her storyline is kind of like boring now, like the season. So it makes me wonder if it's really that true. And they're saying that there's real beef on set. Like they don't, you know, some characters don't like each other. They have beef with the writer. So it just makes you wonder because people like her as a character, and it's like, do you want to lose that? Do you want to lose a main character? People are not going to watch the show without some of the main characters. I don't think people are going to watch it if Alexa Demi drops out the character Maddie. Sydney Sweeney, like all these main characters that people love, I don't think no one's gonna watch the show if they drop out. So like you have that leverage now. So hopefully he recognizes that the writer.
These writers and industry people are so arrogant and entitled that they would rather the whole show collapse than to compromise too. They rather have the
like
whole
Joe
thing
Budden.
burned. Yeah, like they'd rather have the whole thing burned down than to do what's right or
like we could find someone else to replace you. We'll find a new Cassie or we'll find a new Maddie.
Okay.
It's not gonna work like that. They'll see the character like these people who are like our diehard show watchers, they become obsessed with these characters, like obsessed, literally. So you can't replace people who would have showed this solid at this point, and they're only on their second season. Like that's crazy. But you can't replace them. So
yeah, well, you know, we don't know how much of a creep he is, but if he's a creep, get him out of here. I'm not watching that show, you know, mostly because it's not for me, but also now given this additional context, I definitely ain't watching it.
I mean, we don't know if some stuff is confirmed or not. But
yeah, we don't know anything's confirmed.
Definitely, you could just see it. Like, why is Sydney naked in every 5 minutes? Like, I'm about to put the episode tonight because I heard it's probably going to be like a crazy ass episode because it's like the culmination of Maddie finding out that her best friend was messing with her ex, because her abusive ex, because it looks like Maddie and the abusive ex is getting back together. Like the show ended with him bringing her flowers, and like earlier in that episode, she was talking about, I kind of want him back. Like you could tell she's like a pretty girl who's like insecure, who thinks she's popping, who acts really popping. Like she exudes confidence, but she's insecure low key because she's taken back to abusive ex, that type of vibe. But that abusive ex the whole time been messing with her best friend, and she hasn't known that was going on, which is nasty. Ugh, girls like that are weird. But this is like it's her birthday episode, and I think she's back together, and obviously her friend's gonna be at the birthday. So I think this episode is gonna be crazy. So that's why I'm watching it. But we'll see. I'm gonna see how many times tonight I see her titties.
Hypocrite.
My hypocrite.
Hypocrite.
But yeah, it's a lot. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I feel bad for her.
Like it's gonna be something that we all really need to unpack. Like it's hard though, because when people do have these conversations, like even if I was talking about it now, like I kind of want to do a clip on it because it's being talked about. We'll see if this gets views, and people might not agree with what we're saying, because there are a lot of the word's not backlash, but it's like pushing back, like pushing back on, like people will say, like, you know, 'cause a lot of people bring this up, like, oh, then why are you watching it? It's like, okay, yeah, good point, but it's also like, it's not weird. They're not really underage. It's like, you don't think it's weird? It's like, oh, it's not weird. Weren't you having sex in high school? Yeah, but I wasn't watching it. Like I wasn't watching underage people having sex. Like
I wasn't watching 50-year-olds write about high schoolers having.
Like of course people were having sex in high school, and of course you were seeing it, but you were underage yourself, so it's not weird.
You have grown 50, 60, 40, 30, 20. It don't matter how fucking old they are, writing about little kids.
Yeah.
Because you're a little kid. You're a child when you're 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Yeah. You're a little kid. You have grown people writing about the thought, like you have to write that.
Yeah.
Like that's weird.
You have to write.
It doesn't matter whether
Sydney gets bent over in the bathroom.
Yeah, like come on.
Cassie, that's her.
No, seriously, and that's what the little stage notes would say too. Like that's nuts.
Yeah.
If I wrote that script, the cops came in here and raided the apartment and saw that, I would get arrested.
Yeah.
Like seriously.
And the thing is, like, yeah, like people don't keep saying, oh, we was having sex in high school. This. No, but the little act of watching underage people have sex is child pornography. And yeah, they're not really underage, but if they were actually underage and the age that they're playing, it would be illegal. So I don't know why there's so much like pushback to it. It's like, no, it's weird. Like call it what it is.
The pushback is weird.
Yeah, like call it what it is. It is a little weird. The show is good, yes. People are having sex in high school, yes. People were seeing other kids have sex in high school, yes. But you were also the same age as them, underage as well. Yeah, a lot of weird stuff happened. That like, were there 18-year-olds in high school having sex with 14-year-old freshmen? Yes, weirdos. Yes, there's a lot of weird stuff that happened, but doesn't make it right. But doesn't make it right. Like that's the question we need to ask. Doesn't make it right. Just because it is happening. Right,
just because it happened, right? Like massacres happen. Does it? People like, just because it happens, is that okay?
Because people do that with everything. Like they'd be like, oh, it's not weird that this 21-year-old is dating this 17-year-old.
That happens all the time.
What's the age gap? You and your parents probably have an age gap. No, yeah, my parents are 10 years apart. But my dad met my mom when she was 26, not 16. My mom was 26 or 25, and my dad was 35, not 16. Like people always want to justify something, and that pushback is very weird. Like it's very telling. And people who are like that, I looked at them weird because it's like, why are you pushing back so much on something that you know is wrong? You know? Mm-hmm. It's just strange.
Yeah.
But I just think, I don't know if we'll ever get there. Like, I feel like us people, we constantly are developing and having change of mindsets, and I like seeing that. But I don't know. These producers get away with having good shows and that people like, so they get this off a lot. Oh wow. Go Rams! Go Rams!
Relax.
Sorry.
What else we got?
I told this guy on Twitter, I said Rams, Bengals, Super Bowl. Go Rams. Okay. Yeah, what else you want to talk about?
It's on you.
I know I'm usually the topic person. I've been so bad lately. I'm sorry. Like work is killing me. Anybody out there who knows accountants or knows anything about accounting, busy season is some craziness. Like I worked Saturday. I never worked a Saturday since I was thinking about it. I'm like the last time I ever worked on a Saturday was summer 2017 when I was at ShopRite still. That's such a crazy perspective, right? I never worked a Saturday since then, since August 2017. And I worked yesterday. And then this is my third busy season, and people have worked Saturday so many times, but I just never have until yesterday. So I've been very stressed out with work. Work has been taking over my life. So I honestly don't even think about topics during the week or to write it down. So that's my bad. I'm gonna get back on my grind in next month when busy season dies down. But I don't even know what else been happening. I think there was something I was gonna say earlier that I just forgot about. I know we said we were gonna talk about like maybe we could talk about those Twitter topics, but sometimes those Twitter topics be annoying me.
All Twitter topics are stupid.
I was gonna talk about how they were mad about that girl buying a cigar and wrapping it.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
Yeah, we don't really gotta talk about that, but people are just weird. Sad everybody's relationships. Let people do whatever they want. There's always single people that always are critical about what people in relationships are doing, or people in good situations. What else happened this week? I feel not.
That could be it.
This was a slow kind of week. I mean, it could be. Where are we at? Oh, we're at 1 hour 20.
Fashion Nova to pay $4.2 million after FTC alleges they deleted negative reviews. That's pretty hilarious.
Yeah, I think we talked about that before.
Everybody does that.
You shouldn't delete negative reviews. Like, you know how Camelback was under fire because of that racist stuff?
They deleted all the reviews.
Yeah, I didn't see my review up there. I went on my page and saw it, but when I was on their page, it was gone. They should. I feel like no one should be able to allow to do that. They like, unless it's false. But I don't know, how would you monitor that though? How would you be able to be like, this is false? Like, that could be harmful, right? Someone's pinning a lie, and now you got to keep that like it's
yeah, and
up
people
there.
do that.
Yeah,
because that happened to me on my grill. I'm still sick. I had a 5-star rating for the past like 5 years.
And you can't delete it. Mm-mm. Yeah, but that's bad though.
He gave me a 1 star after like a year of having the item. I was like, all right, bro. I can't delete it. It's not worth it. But,
yeah,
you know,
but that sucks though.
That's what it is. I still got 4.999999.
Yeah, so it's a hard situation.
Yeah, I guess nothing else happened. Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything, but I know like that Euphoria topic was like a big talk on social media lately. So I feel like it was good to get out there because it is something that we really do have to address for sure. And I feel like a lot of things that like there's a lot of stuff that we don't realize is wrong and weird that like when you really think about it, it's like, yeah, this is kind of weird because like, you know, we're 25 now, right? Like recently 25. So like, you know, we just got off being 24. So we're just kind of like now being aware of that stuff, you know, because when these shows are out and these movie stuff, we're in high school. So when we're in high school seeing other characters in high school having sex, it doesn't really feel weird.
Oh my God.
When we're in high school watching adults watch it. No, I'm saying like.
We just talked about that.
No. I'm saying how we're now realizing it's weird because we're older. That's what I'm saying. I think that's where these conversations are being had because, you know, our generation is very huge on social media because we grew up with it, like with social media, the turn of it being so popular. I think I'm talking about why these conversations are now being had and why so many people are having these realizations because a lot of us are getting older. And our population of millennials and like, you know, and older Gen Z is so huge that we run social media. Like a lot of our generation actually run it, and like, you know, obviously Gen Zs, they're outpopulating us, so they're starting to take over younger Gen Z. So I'm talking about why the conversation are now being had. And I
don't think there's ever been a show like Euphoria.
No, but there's definitely been shows with people having sex but yeah, maybe not with the nudity because they showed the sex scenes in like other shows, but it was more so like. It wasn't even necessarily implied, but it was just no nudity. Yeah.
This is kind of interesting. I'm sure you're not familiar with 22 G's, but he is a rapper from New York that is with the business. Mm-hmm. He said he's advising young rappers to dumb down their disses.
Why? Because it's dangerous?
Yeah. It's like, I'm reading through this here. Yeah, he's saying dumb down your disses because the only thing that people are going to hear outside, like they're not going to even listen to your talent or the song itself. They're just going to hear the diss and then immediately, that's all you're just going to be known for. And also, you really like, These kids is going crazy. Like it's
The
mad
name,
descriptive.
outcome.
Yeah, like yo,
And
I
talking
shot
about dead
him
people, yeah.
and did it here at this particular corner. Blah 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 blah.
It's really a flex culture. So you combine flex culture with the Rams might win this. Well, they probably are. Well, it depends on what the 49ers can do. Because they're definitely gonna get a field goal right now, right? You think they're gonna go for it?
I think we should talk about the topic on hand.
Okay, sorry. I'm just wondering if they're gonna go for it. It's 4th down.
Why would you go for it?
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
It's tied. All right, sorry. But yeah, they're like, I think like it's a combination of flex culture that's so big on social media now, and it's like everybody's so obsessed with flexing. That combined with this culture that already existed, people are just dry snitching. People are overdoing it. They're probably creating crazy wars among each other and crazy beefs. Cause we watch those videos by that guy Trap Lord, and you see how deep it gets. These beefs be real.
There actually is,
and a lot of them are into music now. A lot of these gang people are rappers now.
There's somebody else that does the gang beef war breakdowns that's black, so I'm supporting him.
I'm
not watching Trap Lord
anymore. Who literally be
throwing up gang signs.
Yeah,
almost
and
like it's a
wearing
joke, right?
bandanas and stuff. It's it's very like now I think about it, that's very like provocative. Like why are you wearing the bandana and trying to be funny and talking like slang? I don't know. He's weird, and he's from Britain. Did you say he's like affiliated with somebody famous?
Did I say that?
Yeah, no, I thought we figured out, like we learned that his like parent or somebody like.
Oh yeah, it's
it was like in the industry.
Tim Westwood or something like that. He has is his uncle or something like that. And Tim Westwood is he's been around forever, doing BBC radio, I think.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I definitely do think I think dissing in general like is cool. That's part of the culture, but they do need to relax. People are taking it too far, and like real lives are being taken behind a lot of this stuff. Like the way we have lost so many rappers in these last 10 years, and some of it wasn't even beef related. Obviously, Juice WRLD was drugs. XXX was a robbery. Pop Smoke was a robbery. So yeah, it's not all gang, but then again, Pop Smoke also is affiliated with that stuff. But I mean, that's not why he died. But it is also no coincidence though that a lot of rappers that do die, it's like are talking crazy in their music or are involved in gangs, you know. So you kind of do put a target, like the same way they said nobody's trying to put a hit out on Kanye and Chance the Rapper or J. Cole. Like,
I think it's gotten to a point where people like the beef isn't even about the beef anymore. It's about the songs.
Yeah.
Like you don't even know why you beefing anymore. You just so and so said this on the song, and now we're gonna go shoot his uncle.
And the person who said that on the song don't even know why they're saying it. They just want to get clout. Cause they want that shock value.
Not, you know what? I think a lot of it is that people have a problem with somebody, and then like if there's group A, B, and C, right? Group A and B are beefing. Somebody from group B kills somebody from group A, and because group C doesn't like group A, they use that like whatever violence or whatever as like they like claim it themselves. I think this conversation, it's weird. I don't know. That's why somebody was like, don't claim. Well, I think it was not Vaughn, Dirk that said it. It was like, don't claim things that you didn't do yourself.
Yeah.
And that's all being done in the songs. And that didn't used to be a thing. You had to, back when you had beef with somebody, like you really were gangbanging. And this is before my time, so I shouldn't even be speaking on it. But like, if you had like a problem in a borough in New York or something like that, there was no tweeting, there was no music.
Yeah.
Like even the rappers weren't like really dissing each other. Like I spun the block and I did this, that, whatever. Like that wasn't a thing. But now these new kids is like, they saying full addresses.
And that's why like we watched something. I know we said we're not watching Trap Lord anymore, but one of his videos we did watch where he was where he like brought up things. I told you the Rams got this. Sorry. It was an interception? It's over! Sorry. I'm distracted. I knew it was gonna win. Okay. But yeah, that was one of his videos where he was showing how a lot of the people, I think it was the Chicago gang wars, a lot of people had tweets. Like that's what he used it as. Like a lot of tweets were used as evidence, and a lot of the tweets invoked more violence. So, promoted more violence. But yeah. Sorry, I'm distracted. This is the NFC Championships. So yeah, I think like that's why I'm actually shocked more deaths are occurring, especially with the whole Von Dirk like NBA young boy stuff. Like, I mean, I know that a lot of them are kind of not really untouchable, but you know, NBA is literally in at a house on a house arrest for who knows how long, right? Like I forgot. And then you have. You know, it's not like they're protected, but they kind of are. Like they're, you know, you're rich, you're in certain areas, like you're kind of not really outside as much, even though they kind of are. So it's like, but I don't know. It's crazy the tweeting and stuff and all that stuff. It's just so it's definitely boosts up the beef a lot more.
They don't. It's Chicago versus like I don't know where young boy's from. He's from down south. When you're not near each other, there's like. It's kind of hard to get that off. Like it makes more sense in Chicago when it's or New York where you are living on this street and the street next to you have beef with. Mm-hmm. It's a lot easier to go and you know do whatever. But that killing was in Atlanta, and neither one of those parties were from Atlanta. Mm-hmm. So like, no, it's just one of those things where it's just a little tough to I don't know. That's why we like if they were closer together, I feel like we would have seen that more.
Yeah.
Like you see New York, like in some of the beefs, even within like a particular borough, like it's easy to drop down the street. Mm-hmm. It's not easy to drive hundreds of miles from Chicago all the way down, or vice versa. And also, to some degree, and I'm not. Please do not get it confused. I'm not talking about this situation specifically. To some degree, some people they're not really like. I don't know. It becomes complicated because once you start crossing state lines to do something, like now you add in charges, you just add in different things. So even if you did end up getting caught, it's like it's crazy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's tough, but you know, yeah, these kids are crazy.
Yep.
But I agree with them. I mean, 22 G's. You know,
a lot of these people who be trying to give these like advice live. You know, they live through. They see it and they see how bad it is. You know, but he's younger.
Yeah.
So you know, and he's saying
and
that.
he's a part of that.
Yeah. So he's saying like he you know, you're seeing from the inside how bad it is or how bad it could get, and it's like, and you know, like it's just a mess, and like I guess it's a deadly combination of like social media, flex culture, you know, all that stuff, you know.
Yeah, when people are dancing to your songs and there's
yeah,
it's in the club, then it becomes different. Now
you're going out you're
going out to the club and your op is dissing your dead friend in the club.
Yeah,
like that's crazy. So I feel him. I mean, at least it came to that. You know, at least he's saying it because somebody got to say it, and he's young. So for him to even say that is like important. I feel like to like, if anything, at least just dumb it down so nobody else can like, so it's not so obvious at least. Because if you live in that life, you still want to get it off, go ahead, get it off, but at least don't make it so crazy.
Yeah.
Because then, you know, police
don't overdo it.
Police are using it as evidence, and it's like
you're locking yourself away for life.
You're doing the music to get the money anyway, so get your money and just chill out.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's crazy because they make it so far and then they fumble it. Like, you got all that money, now you can't even spend it. You're in jail. Like, your family's spending that money. It's not worth it. You're in jail or you're dead. So what's the point? It's just stupid.
Yeah, and obviously these things are super deep. I'm not from the hood.
We don't understand. You know, we will never understand it, of course. But it's also at the same time, like, why not just want more? Like, you made it out. And us as people need to move away from this type of culture. So it's like, you made it out, so why keep perpetuating it? And like you said, now you end up encouraging it by making these songs. Like, you have people in the club singing it. Like, you're encouraging it. You're encouraging the BS and the gang culture and the violence.
I don't know how true this is, so I don't want to misspeak. But I wonder what the influence of, like, Chicago, God, do I want to say specific people? I'll just say this. I'll keep it generic. Certain gangs have branched out from outside of their, from where they were created, base, yeah. And they've gone to other states. Like New York. I wonder if you are from location A in New York, whatever, and like, do you inherit the beef?
Sorry, what's wrong with him? Samuel.
do you inherit the beef of like other people? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if I'll just use the two generic ones we always say. Like if you're a blood in New York,
Yeah.
you're supposed to have beef with Crips, whatever.
Yeah.
If you fly to Chicago and there's Bloods or Crips in Chicago, which I don't think there are, but if you were, do you inherit the beef over there? Like, how does it all work? Because it's like interesting to me because New York, Bloods and Crips in certain areas are cool.
Yeah.
But if you were either or and you go out to Cali, it might be different. So I just wonder how that all works.
I think it is inherited. Like you kind of have to move the way they move over there because they don't know where you're from. They don't know. Watch out! I'm in New York, but like, we cool over there. It's like no, but we're not cool here. So.
Like one specific thing, like I would say, like Bloods and hopefully I'm not misspeaking, but Bloods and Crips in New York don't like GDs, and GDs are from Chicago.
Yeah,
if a GD
they come together to not like them too.
Yeah, if a GD from Chicago went to Cali, do Bloods and Crips from Cali have
not
beef
like them too? Yeah,
with the GD? I just wonder.
Good question.
Because
I do think there's definitely geographical differences, but there also like now that social media exists and that you could connect with anybody, there definitely might be some code type thing across the board. But who knows? Because I hate to compare it to Greek life. Everybody always makes the jokes about Greek life being like gang members, but from a Greek life perspective, that's not necessarily true because AKs from Florida might have issues with the Deltas on there. Like there might be actually real beef. There's no like we're all together. Like they might actually hate each other. There might be some deep stuff that happen, like lines, like between the chapters, and these chapters like hate each other, or not these chapters, but these sororities hate each other. And there could be beef between chapters too. Like you could have AKs that hate other AKs from a different chapter, same organization. So it might not necessarily be like that because like let's say like I go to Florida, right? A part of Florida where AKs hate Deltas and a Delta sees me and they give me a dirty look. I'm like, whoa, what did I do? I don't got no beef with you. Like, what are we doing? But there might really be some crazy beef that between the Deltas and AKs on there that I'm not privy to. So I hate to use sororities.
Never bring the Greeks up. All right, this has been the A Couple of Things podcast where we talked about a couple of things.
That's why they be clowning. They be clowning
Alex.
They like Greeks think they gang members.
I am Alex alongside Mal. Thank you guys for watching.
Signals. Look.
We not doing
signals.
that.
We got